I had figured out from all the mistakes I had made from building that first team, what I was doing wrong, and then started to figure out, okay, like now I'm figuring out how to develop people, but I didn't have enough people to develop because I wasn't hiring and I wasn't marketing. So that's something that really changed like at the beginning of this year for me, is starting to like look at this more like a real business perspective, instead of just like a fun sales organization you hire people in and it's all great. Like, how do we actually take a look at this as a business?
Hi, everybody. Grady Polson. Welcome to the America Agency. So I want to talk, though, about what you've done in your business, right? So our job is to lead and find great people, teach them how to sell, and teach them how to lead. And it seems simple, but we've had 30, 40, 50,000 people come through our agency, and 1,500 have issued a policy. And I'm so blessed for the 1,500. I wish well the 48,500 that they found something else that they're passionate about. But this business is a business. And like any business, if we look at the numbers of businesses that are reported by people who report on businesses, that like 90% fail in the first 2 years and 95% fail in the first 5 years. So we got a 5% chance at making this. You seem to you're at about year 5 and you're now making it. So there's something inside of Nicolette that is a 5%er, that is not succumb to the stresses and the pressures that most people, right? It would say 95% would be most people let break them. So there's something in you about building and sticking to things, but there's also how you're recruiting and leading. So will you talk about now how you're building your business, mindsets you have around it, the ebbs and flows, the waves you've gone through, and let's talk about building a business, which is truly the most incredible part. You can write $1 million and on your own pen in this industry. You can also make $1 million in overrides, and both are amazing, but one is a job and one is freedom. And that's what is incredible about this industry. So let's dig into that.
Yeah. I always say like, I have not gotten to this point the fastest by any means, but like I'm still gotten here, and I have so much like farther still to go. And like I'm not the person that got there overnight or got there in a year, 6 months, which I think is like a lot more like the reality of this business. Like most people don't just like get there overnight. Like there's a lot of challenges along the way. And I always say like this journey is going to be very different for everyone. The person that I was 5 years ago when I started in this industry is nowhere near the same person that I am today. Like, and I'm so grateful for that. It has been a huge personal development journey, I think, more than anything else. I don't think I was super confident when I first started in this industry, and it's not something I even recognize. Like, I think entrepreneurship and business, it brings a lot of stuff out of you that like you wouldn't otherwise have to face. Like you have to face everything, honestly, internally head on and learn how to work through it. The thing about me is I knew the day I got into this industry is that I was going to do this. I was never going to quit. I was going to make it happen no matter what. I remember my first, it wasn't at the first month. I think it was maybe my second month. Like it was the first time, like all of a sudden it started to be really hard because I came in, it was fun. I was loving it. It was great. And then all of a sudden I hit a wall. And I remember when I hit that first wall and I'm like, I want to quit. And I sat down and I like wrote a note to myself, or it was to myself, but it was saying like, hey, like, you can't quit because like, if you quit now, like you're like not going to be able to show like all these other people, like how to push through it too. And I had a specific person in my mind. It was one of my friends who I was trying to hire as an agent. And I was like, you can't quit because you're going to let her down. Like, don't let her down. So like keep pushing through. And I never ended up even recruiting her into life insurance. I just like thought like she'd be so good at this, but like I have to prove it so that like she'll do this. And if I push through, like that's, I'm going to be able to help her in the future. But I remember writing that note to myself and I was just like, no matter what, I'm going to figure it out. And like, just thinking about like, there are people out there that I will probably work with in the future that I have no idea who they are yet, but like there are people out there that are like counting on me to be like to figure this out and go through the hard stuff, to be able to coach them and help them through it too. So like I can't give up. I just had that mindset going into it, no matter what was going to make it happen. I feel like there's probably a lot of people out there. It's like, deep inside, like, yeah, I'm going to do this, but it's very challenging along the way. Like people always ask, well, have you ever wanted to quit? Yeah, a million times. Like, I think my entire first 2 years, I probably cried like every other month. Like, and my mentors are probably like, what the heck? Like, they have no idea what to say to me. And, but I just always kept pushing through. And so once I got through that on like the sales side and I had kind of mastered how to be like consistently selling, I'm like, okay, great. I started to build a team, which was my second year with FFL. I built up a team, got a team to doing $150,000 a month, which was so exciting. Like your VP, like it was so great. And I hit that month, and then all of a sudden I lost everybody. And it was a lot of stuff I had to learn from a leadership perspective that I was not doing correct. I was not teaching people the best way to go about stuff. I didn't have like the best mindset about, close a client and it was like, boom, 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 on to the next one. Like you just kept running ahead. Like I didn't know what a chargeback was. And so it's like all these things had happened. But I just eventually got to a point where I realized like all of the hard things that were happening, like every time I made it through that, where like when I was an agent, it was getting those first chargebacks. Then it was, hiring an agent and coaching them through chargebacks. Then it was building a team and losing the whole team. Like, and every time I went through something really difficult where I just wanted to quit and I'm like, maybe this is a sign I shouldn't be doing this. And then I would be like, no, what would I be going back to? Like, let's be realistic, because I can either have two options, quit or keep going. If I quit, I go back to, my 9-to-5 job. What does my life look like in 10 years from now? The same. Okay, I can suck it up, stop complaining, and figure out a way through this. And what does my life look like in 10 years? Okay, way better. I'm going this path. But eventually I just got to a point where I learned to like love the adversity and the challenges. And I think that that's really helped along the way. So I lost the whole first team, rebuilt up a second time, and then was kind of stagnant for an entire year. I think for me, what had happened is I had like got back to that point again and just kind of like took a breath and was like, oh, like, okay, I made it. And now we're consistent and that's great. But I definitely like took my foot off the gas. And I like even got to a point where I'm like started to get kind of like bored in the business, right? Where I'm like, we're doing the same thing. Like, okay, everything's good. Everybody's getting paid. We're all happy, but like, we're not growing anymore. So at the beginning of this year, really like the biggest things that changed, is Jay kind of put it into perspective of there's like 4 things you need to be doing in this business. Everybody's probably heard it before, but sell, develop, hire, and market. And so I realized like, okay, I figured out how to sell consistently. If I just wanted to sell life insurance for the rest of my life, I could. Like I had figured that out. I could make plenty of money doing that, live a great life, fine. I had, I'm like, cool, we got it, whatever. But I'm like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to be sitting in front of my computer for 10, 12 hours a day in 10 years from now. Like now is fine, but like that was never my goal. Develop. I had figured out from all the mistakes I had made from building that first team, what I was doing wrong, and then started to figure out, okay, like now I'm figuring out how to develop people, but I didn't have enough people to develop because I wasn't hiring and I wasn't marketing. So that's something that really changed like at the beginning of this year for me, is starting to like look at this more like a real business perspective, instead of just like a fun sales organization. You hire people in and it's all great. Like, how do we actually take a look at this as a business? Starting to go to events. I like wasn't really going to all the events that FFL does, or the lock-in in Vegas with FFL USA, or Sean's event in Florida. And so I've just started to like really invest in like going into all these things and like learning from everybody. And in Florida, Sean said something about like, you don't have a business if you like, I don't remember he said if you like died tomorrow, or like if you took a step away, but it was like, if you are not here anymore and the business doesn't continue to grow without you, you don't have a business. You don't have a profitable business. I'm like, okay, so I need to start thinking about this differently. So I've, hired an admin. I've hired like a marketing team to help me with my social media. Like I'm putting money into other places to grow this as a business. And I think that's been a huge shift too on just like my mindset around it.
There was so much that was fantastic. And I mean, I love hearing I feel empathy for the agents that were with you and then they left and lost, but it's their choice. That's fine. That was their choice to go. But from that, you chose to learn, what was I not doing as a leader? What was I not teaching? What was I not preparing them for? Oftentimes we'll call it the antidote, right? We'll give them some antibodies and say, you're going to get chargebacks. There's going to be clients that are going to fall. If we tell everybody, hey, it's the best thing ever, you're going to go right and everything's going to stay on the books and the commissions they are, but there's challenge there. You need to sell the client on making sure there's no reason to talk to anybody else. We're a broker who put you in the best situation. Agent might come by. Like, there's things we need to teach people that you learn through that process that then has made you so much better. And I love hearing about you investing, because that is so crucial to businesses. We must grow as people. My job is to grow as a person, and my business to create room for other leadership to step into. If I don't do that, then why am I here? Why do I exist? And that's everyone's role, right? From your newest person, if they go sell 12 grand this month, great. But if they go hire 5 people and sell 12 grand next month, they're setting a standard for their team that's what we do here, right? Versus leading with a 20, 30, 40, 50K energy to create, this is the standard on our team, which then mints people that have income to then be able to create breathing room in their lives. And that's just so powerful. Love it. Jay, I mean, I love Jay. Sell, develop, hire, market. Very, very just so crystal clear on what we should be doing. And so to hear you doing those things. Now, what are some things you have staff doing? Because in a recruiting leadership type situation, right, I can't, especially even as a producer, right? As soon as you hit a 20,000 a month, you should be hiring staff. You should be hiring someone to call the carriers, follow up with your clients. You should be implementing some level of capital back in your business. Leads are important, and then hiring someone to support you is important. And that's a whole nother training call. But then especially as a manager, because your job is to be selling or recruiting or teach people how to sell or teach people how to recruit. So doing admin work. So what do you have from a leadership standpoint? What do you have your admin and staff doing now?
Right now I have her starting like with onboarding and contracting. And then also taking over like on the initial recruit. So tracking because I've done more recruiting calls probably this month alone than I have my entire first 2 years in business combined. So I'm doing all these calls, which is fantastic, but making sure we're not losing people in the process. So she keeps up with all of that, managing when they get into coursework, keeping up, making sure how are they doing with their exam, when they pass their test, and getting them through that pipeline, getting them through onboarding, contracting, until we get them to a point where they're ready to be on the phones. So that's been a huge help. It's been about I would say 5 weeks, so it hasn't been a long time yet. I also learned from going to Sean's event about give it 90 days. When you do hire somebody or anytime in business, do 90 days and then then look and say, is this profitable? Is this doing what I need it to do? And if not, move on, cut it and move on, or figure out where there's something missing. So I have that in my mind. I'm sure there's going to be other things I can probably ask you, Grady, for advice on that I could have her start doing as well. But I just had her start with that onboarding, contracting, and helping me manage the recruiting pipeline. I hired also a videographer team. So we do filming 1 to 2 times a month. They help me with what to say, content ideas. They ask me what am I going for to help me build my personal brand. I don't think that that's something everybody needs to go do. Something I think is really cool is even as a brand new agent, you can still be marketing on social media, on TikTok. I, do my own TikTok and they help me with Instagram, and I get recruits from both places from just posting silly videos about how many sales did you do today? Or I talk about on mine, red flags to look for in the insurance industry or whatever that may be. And Jay always explains it as people out there looking for an opportunity. There are people out there looking for it, but they don't know to ask you if you don't make your presence that you should be the person for them to ask. So that's been something that's been a big focus for me, is starting to kind of build up that personal brand to bring more people into the business. Or now we have this office, to start recruiting people into this physical office that we have. Yeah. And so that's kind of what I've done. Oh, and social media. I have, for the team social media, I have somebody that does all the graphics and stuff like that, because even though I love Canva and it is very fun for me to make those graphics, I had to like separate that because I just, it's not a good use of my time, even though I love doing it. So that one was tough for me, but I did hire someone for that too.
How do you feel personally now that you have an admin staff? How does it make you feel?
More like a business owner.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
awesome. Like when you have that person, like it's kind of a double-edged sword. One, they empower you, but two, you're like, I got to make sure I make enough money to support this person because they're depending on me now that I continue to evolve and grow. And it's healthy pressure, right? It's kind of like, there's other companies that go, you just wrote 20 grand, go buy a Corvette. And we're like, hey, no, hold on, just save your money for a second. You just made some money. Don't go buy a stupid car right now. But like, we try to go, let's lock out leads. Let's get staff. Let's get a good CRM. Let's invest in things that are going to make the business healthy. And so I love hearing that because I meet so many people as they send up these letters and they're like, oh, I'm just doing it myself, or I'm not doing it. My mom helps me, or I got a VA in the Philippines. And I'm like, all those are okay. But like, as soon as you have a real person that like, you can like have ideas, because then their whole intent is, how do I help you grow this business? Because if they help you grow the business, they're going to profit as well. And so it's just such a mature way. So, I mean, Nicolette, you're exceptional. I'm so proud and happy for you. I'm so excited to see where you go. You've got such a growing team. What is some final rally cry advice you've got for these agents as we send them off today?
Yes. Just don't give up, because I like think to myself, there's so many times when I could have given up, when I wanted to give up, and when I think people around me wanted me to give up or didn't believe that I could do this. And so like, if you like have already started this, or you're thinking about getting into this industry, you already have something inside of you that believes in you. Like, hold on to that and don't ever give up on yourself. Like, you're making that decision, like you just have to make that decision first, but don't ever lose that light in yourself. Don't let that go, and don't let anybody else take it away from you either. Keep pushing. This is not something that is easy by any means. It is absolutely so challenging, but in the best way. Like I said, it's been way more of a personal development journey for me than anything else. And like, I'm so beyond grateful for that. And I continue to like grow and push myself every single day. So don't ever give up. Keep pushing through, whether it takes you a year to get to this point, or if it takes you 5 years to get to this point. Who cares? Keep going. This is the best industry. Like, in my opinion, I've looked at other industries. This is the best one, where if you just put your head down, there's not a lot that like really could get in your way except for you giving up. So keep pushing. Don't give up. Thank you.
Amen. Thank you so much. Drop an NM in the chat below to show Nicolette some love. Look forward 3 to 5 years. If you do nothing, nothing will change. And if you get after it and go, just like Nicolette said, everything could change for you. I like the possibility more than certainty of nothing changing. So, Nicolette, thank you again. Have an amazing day.